Hello everyone, welcome back to another video with me. Before I get into today's video, I just wanted to thank everyone for all the support recently. I really do appreciate it, and we are pretty close to 1,000 subscribers, so hopefully we can hit that soon. And yeah, thank you very much for everyone that's subscribed so far. But for today's video, I'll just be talking about the Dreaming Spanish roadmap. I know a lot of people have some queries about this roadmap, especially on the Reddit forum for Dreaming Spanish. Some people think Dreaming Spanish underestimates the amount of hours to fluency, but I'll be deep diving into that today and telling my own experience and what I think, whether it's a realistic comparison to make. So first of all, if you're someone who's unaware of what the Dreaming Spanish roadmap is, it's essentially a PDF document that Dreaming Spanish has published on their website, and it's just giving you a brief description of where you should be for the amount of hours of input you've consumed in Spanish language and on the Dreaming Spanish platform. In my own experience, the first 4 levels, I guess you could call them, were pretty spot on. The first one obviously just being 0 hours, so we won't count that for anything. The second one was, they phrase it as, you know some common words, and that's at 50 hours, so I agree with that, no problem. The third one was, you can follow adapted topics, and that was at 150 hours. Also agree with that one. I think I was able to follow certain topics for sure at that stage. And number 4 was that you can understand a patient native speaker, and that's at 300 hours. Also, I probably agree. Obviously, depends what topic. Once again, at 300 hours, that's not that much. But I think those first 4 levels, in my experience, I probably followed along with them pretty well. And yeah, that was all fine. Obviously, it's going to depend person to person. But in my experience, yeah, I can agree that I was at those levels when expected. And you should be able to comprehend 80 to 90% of them. And you should always be able to get your point across with whatever you would like to say to some degree. Even though it's not perfect, you should be able to get your point across. So I'd probably agree with the roadmap on both these points. At 1,000 hours, I guess it wasn't that long ago for me, but I could feel I could get my point across. I'm probably still at this 1,000 hours stage at the moment where my grammar's not perfect. I'm definitely not sounding like a native, but if you dropped me in a Spanish-speaking country and I needed to get my point across about anything day to day, I think I'd be fine. I think I could get my point across. It wouldn't sound great. It would sound clunky and without the use of proper grammar, but yeah, I'd be able to express myself. I've got the vocabulary to do that. So yeah, I probably would agree with them on that point. In terms of understanding native TV shows, 80% to 90% comprehension level, probably also agree with that. However, that probably does sound like it's easier to understand than what it is. If you're only understanding 80% of the words said in a TV show, sure, you're going to be able to follow along and understand what's going on. There's no doubt about that. And you're probably going to be understanding the storyline as well. But is it going to be enjoyable? That's probably a different question. There's many TV shows I can watch now, and I fully get what's going on. It's not complex, especially when they're easier stories to understand. However, it's just not enjoyable because I just don't know enough words. I'm missing so many little words that I don't understand. I'm sometimes missing out on a subplot that might be happening, although I can understand the whole thing as a whole. But yeah, I might be missing out on a certain subplot or a little thing here and there in a movie or TV show. So I think that should be taken with a grain of salt, that 80 to 90% comprehension level there for the 1,000 hours. But for me, I don't think the 1,000 hours mark on the roadmap was too far off where I'm at. Maybe it was a little bit ambitious for where I was at 1,000 hours, but yeah, I don't think it was too far off. Another thing I should probably mention about watching TV shows at this 1,000 hours mark is that for me personally, I found there's so much slang in different countries. Obviously, there's a lot of countries that speak Spanish, So I that's probably something I really struggle with, the accents and the slang. And that can really vary TV show to TV show or movie to movie. So that's also something that should be taken into account, I think, with that 80 to 90% comprehension. Okay, so now on to the next level on the roadmap that they mentioned, which is 1,500 hours. I'm probably closing in on this milestone. I haven't recorded my hours in a very long time. I've just been doing a minimum of 1 hour a day for quite a while now, probably almost 2 years. And I've obviously done a lot more than that on many of those days. So I'm not exactly sure, but I think I'd be around a few hundred hours off, give or take. So they say on the roadmap that at this level, you should be able to understand more formal speech and writing. For example, newspapers, novels, technical texts within your field, and this shouldn't require much effort. You should be able to understand any kind of TV show or movie, and you should be able to speak fluently, and you should feel pretty in control of the language, they say. So even though, as I said, I'm probably not at 1,500 hours just yet, this is probably a bit hard for me to believe that I'll be at this level within a few hundred hours, give or take. It does seem a bit ambitious, to be honest. With those 3 dot points I just mentioned, I still struggle with all of those. If you give me a random newspaper, I'll be able to pick up the topic, yes, but I'll just be missing so many words for me to actually be able to enjoy it, I believe, depending on what the topic is. If I'm reading a sports article, maybe I'll be able to understand that pretty good and enjoy it. Finances, I might be able to understand that. If it's something to do with science, I'm probably going to struggle. So, yeah, I guess that could maybe be correct because it does say within your field. So I guess that doesn't mean everything. You should be able to understand everything. But it does say without effort. And when I'm reading now, I still need to put in effort. And I think it'll be like that for quite a while, if I had to guess. In terms of TV shows or movies, I think that's a little bit ambitious. I don't think I'll be able to, in 6 months' time or so, or a year's time, just be able to flick on any movie in Spanish and understand it completely fine. I think that's pushing it a bit. As I said previously, there's so much slang and there's so many different countries that have their own accent, which makes it probably a bit more difficult with Spanish than other languages. And in terms of being able to speak fluently and effortlessly, I definitely not at this level at the moment. As I've said, it's quite clunky when I speak. I do have to think about it, depending on what topic I'm speaking about. This dot point's probably the one I feel the furthest away from, to be honest. I still have to think about it when I speak. Obviously, I can speak fine. You've seen that in the italki conversations I've had and I've posted on my channel. But it does take effort. When I do those 45-minute lessons, I'm not exhausted, but I've had to think a little bit more than what I would just having this conversation now, which is completely understandable. And who knows, maybe that will change drastically in the next 6 months to a year. But same with the reading. I think it's going to stay like that for a while. Obviously, I'll progress and get better, but I think it will take some time. However, I will mention that in the roadmap for the 1,500 hour mark, they do mention that you still will make some mistakes or miss a specific word here and there. So I will give them credit for saying that. Obviously, when they say you'll be able to speak fluently, that doesn't necessarily mean perfectly, is kind of what I'm gathering from that statement there. However, although right now I probably think that the roadmap probably underestimated the amount of time it takes someone to get fluent, I'm still very appreciative for the service they've provided and the platform. It's probably been the best money I've ever spent on a service in my life, I think. I'm confident to say I wouldn't be where I am right now without Dreaming Spanish. That's the platform that sort of introduced me to this whole method of comprehensible input. And yeah, I'd like to thank them very much for Pablo and the team. I definitely wouldn't be where I am today without that platform. So this wasn't a dig at them, even though I probably disagree with them on some points in regards to the roadmap. I'm still very, very grateful. And yeah, I wouldn't be here probably doing these videos without being able to use Dreaming Spanish when I started off. So yeah, very appreciative for all of that. And maybe if Pablo, the creator of Dreaming Spanish, is watching this video, feel free to leave a comment. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on being fluent at 1,500 hours and why you think that's a good estimate. I'd love to hear what you've got to say. That'd be great. Also, I would love to hear all of your ideas you have around the roadmap. Do you agree? Do you disagree with other parts? What's your own experience? If there's anyone that's done the full 1,500 hours, I would love to hear what you've got to say. So leave a comment and let me know. And let's start some conversation in the comment section and see what everyone's got to say.